second autopsy was done on Trey Reed's body, and we now know that this was not a suicide. Here's what we know. They found evidence of blunt force trauma to the back of his head. They also did not find any evidence that shows that he was hanging from a tree for hours. What they found through their autopsy was that he was possibly manually strangled and then placed in the tree after his death. We also now know that he had an altercation the day before with 4 white students, and the reason why is because he was coming to the defense of his younger sister, who was under attack by these guys for comments she made online about Charlie Kirk's death. Yeah, the authorities are saying that they have identified these 4 students, and we cannot leave this alone until we see the end of it. This is like literally all hands on deck, because we know how corrupt all of this already is based on how the police treated this from the start. So we need people speaking about this. If you're speaking about it, tell your friends to repost. If you see a post about this, repost it.
Trey Reed, second autopsy came back, and they ass in trouble. Delta State University is in trouble. I told y'all that they were gonna lie. I told y'all they were trying to cover that shit up. Look at this shit. Blunt force trauma to the back of the head. Hear me out. Blunt force trauma to the back of the head. Y'all some pussies. Y'all had to wait till that man back would turn just to knock him out, just to get him in the tree. And I told y'all, people from Mississippi don't unalive themselves by hanging themselves. What really pissed me off that it was black men in my inbox telling me that, oh, you act like black men don't hang themselves. They don't. They don't. Where you from? Another thing, for the people that telling me to shut up and stop posting the family, me and Trey Reed mama already talked. We talked like 2 weeks ago. She had already hit me up and was thanking me. I'm not even gonna show y'all the message, but I am gonna say this. She said that she's not scared. She's not running. They doing everything in this world to break that woman. What at least y'all can do is support her. Because remember, Delta State University, they lied to this lady. In the first hour of them finding Trey Reed in a tree, they had already said he did it himself. It was a suicide. I told y'all that was a lie. And I keep getting this message right here. The chief of police is black. The coroners, they black. The DA is black. Why would they cover everything up? Shit, that's what we trying to find out. That's what we trying to find out. Why would they cover it up? Guess it's better than mine. Matter of fact, ask Delta State why they covering it up. Ask Delta State how much money they paid them to try to cover it up. The thing is that Delta State University didn't know that they were going to do a second autopsy. Because let's just be honest, how did you miss the blunt force trauma on the first autopsy? How did you miss that? Ain't no way y'all missed that. Money. Let me just say this as well. They know exactly who did that to Trey Reed. They know exactly how many it was. They even know the names who did it. Guess what? They gonna hide that too. You really think them white folks and let their kids be all over the news, they gonna fuck their whole family history up? That shit ain't finna happen. Them white folks finna pay how much money they can pay to save their kids' face. But like I told y'all, all this shit is about money, and saving their family face. Now, the way they did Trey Reed was probably like a 2 or 3 minute process. It hit him back of the head, knocked him unconscious. It had to been like 3 or 4 people just to pull this shit off. I gotta remember, that rope was already tied and ready to go. But once they knocked him out, only thing they had to do was put the rope around him and just and go. That's a 2 or 3 minute process with 3 or 4 dudes involved. It happened that fast. Now, all the students that's at Delta State University, y'all better listen up and listen up closer. Them kids that did that to Trey Reed, they gonna get away scot-free. One of y'all gonna be next. Because guess what? If they get away now, they gonna feel like they can keep getting away with the shit. Walk around in groups if you have to. Use air tags. If you walk by yourself, be on the phone with somebody that can protect you, that's close by to you. Like I said before, stop the partying down there. Right now, shit finna get hot for Delta State. Shit finna get hot for Delta State University right now. I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna pay attention and see what Delta State University got to say about all this shit that's going on and why they lied. And we're gonna get to the bottom of this shit.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
Okay, man. I want you guys to look out for Bug Hawkins. Bug_Hawkins at TikTok. That's the second gentleman that was speaking about Trey. And let's be in contact with him, as well as follow the Benjamin Crump. The Benjamin at Ben Crump, his accounts on Instagram, I think is his most active account. Follow these key figures or activist Crystal Muhammad from the new Black Panther Party chair, who discussed unverified details on the podcast. And I think that she was on the Woody D podcast, if I'm not mistaken.
as you mentioned, there was an autopsy that came out, you know, from the coroner's office in Mississippi, in Cleveland, Mississippi area. And unfortunately, as we suspected, it was a larger part of a cover up of the actual murder.
What was the single most what was the single most damning piece of evidence that proved this?
Well, the most damning proof evidence is the fact that this young man was placed the way he was placed in a hung position, in which we actually do have the pictures. You know what I'm saying? But we are respecting the request of the family, to not reveal it at the moment. But we knew what we were looking into, because there's been a series of lynchings going on in Mississippi that have not been exposed to the national light or even got due justice. Now, with this case, last night I did talk to Trey Reed's mother, Miss Sophia Reed, and she was very upset. We have been on the ground several times. When I'm saying we, the members of the New Black Panther Party, other community members, other community leaders, concerned people doing independent investigations, fact finding into what actually happened with Trey, and hitting the ground. The majority of the people know the truth about what's going on. And there's a lot of people that are witnesses. There are a lot of people who have very relevant information about what took place, but the so-called authorities, the police department, the sheriff department, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigations, have not only dropped the ball, but they're complicit in an absolute cover-up. At this point, they're part of a conspiracy to cover up a murder, as it stands. Now, speaking with the mother last night, and I heard, as soon as I knew what was going on, I made a point to call you, because I know you've heard from me, Willie, but I wanted you to hear the mother's voice and let her tell you in her own words. So we are not speaking from what we heard or secondhand. We're hearing it directly from the horse's mouth.
And her handle is Crystal Muhammad, Crystal with a K. I can't get access to the autopsy myself. I don't feel good about not being able to see this myself. Particularly the first things that were made, the first person that was speaking from TikTok who says they see a motive. I don't know, man. I gotta find more information. What are you basing this motive on? That he made a comment about Charlie Kirk, and then it just seems a little convenient. That's all. Seems a little convenient, and I need to see where you got that information from. And since I don't have since there's no public access to the second of the independent autopsy has not been released, I can't truly stand on it. Yeah, but I'm gonna come out to my audience and say, hey, this is what we got. I want to at least be able to read over the autopsy before I make that comment. Do I believe that we can trust the university? I don't think we can. They gave they gave the mother one set of information initially, then they had to go back and change all that. I don't trust them at all. That doesn't mean I trust what I'm getting now without corroboration. I think it's bad journalism. It's bad reporting. It's also not smart. It's not fair to people to tell them things without being able to source it. Not in a situation like this. We're gonna have black people in arms, even more so. We're gonna have black people on high alert without any information. I can't do that. What I can say is follow that brother. He seems very sincere to me. He sounds like he's in touch with the mom. He made claims that he's talking to mom. Maybe mom has the information, just hasn't been formally released. If I'm wrong, guys, and you saw the autopsy, you've been able to find it, send me a link. Let a brother know, because I'd be more than happy to report on it further. It's just gotta be cautious. Not for any other reason then. I don't want to put that out there. I don't want to I don't want to scare a bunch of young people without verification. There are black students at that university, and I'm sure they're already up in arms. I don't want to add to it without knowing that I'm doing so for a good reason. So let me know. Contact me at tim@timblacktv.com. Until then, find Bug Hawkins, Crystal at Crystal Muhammad, Crystal with a K. But that young brother, we need to find out what happened to him, and we need to be sure that our information is accurate. Whatever we find out, I will definitely report it right here on this channel to bring you up to speed. Right, my condolences to the family, to his mom, to his friends. Our thoughts are with you, and we want justice for Trey Reed.
The Tim Black Show streams Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wolfpack.